What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 101 of the Silver and Gold podcast. I'm Josh,
And I'm Mike.
and today we've got a very interesting show because we have no games to recap for the 49ers or the Raiders. Yet we are still going to be talking about the 2025 season. So, first, we're going to start with the 49ers and how they did this season. And really, we're going to kind of go back to our early predictions and then we're going to go, through our week to week predictions. But overall, this season, I think, was very encouraging for the 49ers because, I mean, yes, we got dogged by Seattle towards the end of the year, but there were a lot of things that I think were positive. One, I mean, this team was, pretty, like, it had a lot of rookie players or a lot of young players contributing on defense, and I think like overall the defense played very well um, under Robert Saleh. Like towards the end, they really couldn't stop the run because they were just so decimated at defensive line. But that being said, there were I think there were a lot of encouraging moments this year. So I guess first of all, we started the off season with Brock Purdy's contract, and it was one of those things where I was kind of on the side of, well, why would we pay Brock Purdy 50 something million per year when we can pay a guy like Mac Jones next to nothing and maybe get around the same level of quarterback play or quarterback production? Like, yeah, is Brock Purdy better than Mac Jones? I believe so. I believe so. I think towards the end of the year, Brock Purdy kind of confirmed that, and he was playing at such a high level. I think like what he offers with his legs is a big game changer, and he throws pretty well with anticipation. Like that. That to me was like my biggest worry with Purdy. But the fact that I mean, the fact that against most teams they're able to put up like 30 points a game, I think is very encouraging. And maybe that could just be a result of them having, an easy schedule. But all in all, I was encouraged with Purdy, but I was also encouraged with Mac Jones. I think like during the year, him being able to come in and win games and keep the offense afloat, like the offense was definitely different under Mac Jones this year. But in a way, he kind of offered his own skill set that definitely helped as well. Like when Mac Jones was playing, I think Kendrick Bourne was playing very well because they already had like a rapport with each other dating back to New England. And then like I feel like the offense under Mac Jones was like more Matt Ryan esque when he was on the Falcons, where it was like they would drop back and run, and obviously they couldn't. The Niners couldn't really run the football effectively this year. Like they they weren't that efficient in the ground game, but just kind of watching the difference between the offense and Mac Jones, under Mac Jones versus the offense under Purdy, like I feel like there was a lot more short gains, under Purdy, and like a lot of short passes, and then Purdy would just like throw. It would almost feel like a floater, and it's like, man, any other quarterback that I think like throws this pass, gets intercepted, right? But with Purdy, it's like when he does it, I just feel confident that like I'm I feel confident yet amazed at the same time that it like goes to a wide open 49er, if that makes sense. And I think that is a big it's a big thing that he's able to play in Shanahan's system. Um, Mike, do you want to give like uh, overall impressions of the 49ers in 2025 before we go through like our early predictions and our, like week to week and see where we finished out?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest takeaways for me from the Niners this season were Kyle Shanahan and his ability to, I'd say coach and scheme his way out of some really bad scenarios, specifically health wise. Um, and I would say Robert Sala as well, handling that defense minus Nick Boza and Fred Warner. and Michael Williams and so forth, as the season went on. um, I would say, sort of like you were saying, the tale of the two quarterbacks at different points this season between Mac Jones and being able to win with him, and then Brock Purdy coming back from his injury and playing lights out. Um, really, really putting some confidence, I'd say, in the Niners going towards the playoffs. To the point where you guys had a shot at the number one seed, which I think pretty much any other team wouldn't be in that scenario with the health that you guys had,
Yeah.
lack of health.
Any other team would
Um,
have been in contention for the number one pick.
yeah, and in this division, like, you know, it's Tuesday after the NFC Championship. Two other teams in your division were in the NFC Championship. So the fact that your Niners were able to be that unhealthy and still be in the running for winning the division, getting the one seed, and until they met the Seahawks that morning, they were in the running for possibly going to the NFC Championship. So, I think it's all in all, it's a good season for the Niners. Compared to what they could have been. Honestly, if you think of the worst case scenario, it certainly ain't this. Um, and then on top of that, I'd say, you know, something that some, especially probably not non, I should say non Niner fans, um, would think about or wouldn't think about. I just completely confused myself. But the kicker situation. The difference between Jake Moody and Eddie Pinheiro is night and day. I mean, literally, Eddie Pinheiro is making fucking everything. And, you know, Jake Moody couldn't make a kick to save his life, literally. Um, well, figuratively, but,
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I'd say besides that, it's probably McCaffrey's usage and health this season. I mean, literally he was just taking the souls out of the rest of the team in order to stay healthy and keep the Niners offense afloat, apparently. Um, yeah, and then I mean, you get to the playoffs, and I'd say the tale of the season is the Seahawks and how you guys matched up with them, and then I guess probably George Kittle's injury and how significant that will be moving forward.
Yes, that is definitely going to be a big thing to monitor. I think for like the rest of his career, or at least like
Yeah.
next season. Like if he comes back and doesn't miss a beat, which I wouldn't predict that he's
No.
going to come back and not miss a beat. I mean, he got injured so late, you know. Um,
Yeah.
hold on here. I'm trying to fix my camera right now. Okay, should be good in a second when I get back on here. Um, yeah, I just noticed my camera was being delayed. Um, but yeah, George Kittle being injured, Ricky Pearsall being injured, Christian McCaffrey surprisingly not getting injured. Like I don't know how he was the one who was having the most contact out of everybody on the team, yet he was the one who was left standing. Like even Brock Purdy missed a lot of time. Mac Jones had a knee injury in the middle of, I think it was the Rams game. Um, you know, sorry, I got distracted with 49er Media's comment right here. He said, camera looking like the 49ers DC search. Yeah, it's, um, yeah, yeah, we're just going to push along. Bear with us because I think it's a problem on my end, but Mike's his audio or his video is a little delayed when it comes to like how it's appearing on the stream right now. But 49er Media says CMC sacrificed the others to stay healthy. That's really what it felt like because everybody got hurt. Fred broke dislocated his ankle. Trent Williams was hurt for a couple games. It's Juwan Jennings was playing with broken ribs, you know, or fractured
Hmm.
ribs, however you want, however it was actually classified. I think that this year was Kyle Shanahan's best coaching job because in any given year, I feel like these would have been the excuses of, oh, we were just too injured. We have the best team when healthy. This year, it was, hey man, we're fucking injured. Who gives a shit? We went out there and we kicked ass. I loved it. Like, I would take a season like this over a season where we dominate all year and then go to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game and lose it in the last second. You know, because in those Super Bowls, I was expecting to win. Honestly, I was expecting to win, and then we lost, and it was so disappointing. This year, I mean, all right, that's actually a great segue. That's a great segue into our wins and losses for this year. Mike, where do we want to start? Before the season, or do we want to start like how we actually predicted it? Maybe before the season, huh?
Yeah, I'd say quickly before the season, you could just give what did we predict? Not
Okay.
like game by game, but just total.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna need to go game by game. Actually, can you pull up the scores of the 49er games, and then I'll quickly, I'm not gonna go through like and do each cell calculation on Google Sheets, but I will do.
You
Uh,
didn't like put a total for each one at the bottom of it or something?
I did put a total, but I'm just gonna type in the number. I will physically count. That'll be faster. Also, let me restart my camera. My
Okay.
computer seems to be giving me some issues today. 1 second. I'm going to take me off the screen so I'm not so close while I'm trying to fix this. There we go. I had you guys looking up my nostrils without even asking. I'm so sorry. All right, let's see if this makes it a little bit better. All right, better for now, probably. I'm going
All
to
right.
share. All right, window capture, silver and gold predictions. All right, we're putting it on. Mike, you have their schedule picked up or picked out?
Yeah.
Okay, so we were both definitely wrong about this one. All right, I'm just going to choose the ones that we were right. Okay, we both thought the Seahawks were going to win to start the year. We were wrong.
Okay, wait. This is before the season started. This is like
Yes,
say right. Okay. All right,
this
go ahead.
was this was before the season started. More specifically, this was September 5th, 2025.
Yeah.
Okay, we both
Right. So
chose
we did this
Seahawks.
all at once.
Yes, we went
Yeah.
game by game. All right,
Okay.
tell me, Michael, how? All right, we beat the Saints, right?
Oh, jeez. Okay, I see what you want.
Yeah.
Uh, shit.
Yeah, I just want you to go with game by game with me real quick, so that way we can see what we got right, what we got wrong. Pretty sure that
All
we.
right. 49ers. Alrighty. All right. So yeah, they beat the Seahawks week 1. They beat the Saints week 2. They beat the Cardinals week 3.
Okay, so I was wrong there, and you were right.
They lost to the Jaguars week 4.
Okay, so I was wrong, and you were right.
They beat the Rams
We were both
week
wrong.
5.
Okay.
The Buccaneers beat the Niners.
Okay, I was right. You were wrong.
Looks like we both put Bucks.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Um, and then Falcons game, the Niners won.
Okay.
Texans game, the Texans won.
Okay, you were right. Damn. Mike knows ball.
I try. Niners Giants. The Niners won.
Okay, 49ers, Giants.
Niners also beat the Cardinals. Or whoa. My bad. Rams beat the Niners. So we literally flipped the Rams and Niners
Yeah,
games, looks like. Um, and then what? Cardinals?
Niners beat the
Yes,
Cardinals.
or Niners beat the Cardinals. Yeah.
And then you were wrong there. Okay, making up ground.
Niners beat the Panthers.
Yeah, take that. I'm making up ground. You're on a losing streak here.
Niners beat the Browns.
Okay.
Niners beat the Titans.
And they beat the Colts and they beat the Bears, but they didn't beat the Seahawks.
Correct.
Okay. So, real quick, in terms of the amount right.
Can you
okay,
scroll
so,
down a bit?
Yeah.
Or like from the, like, can you go so that we don't see the top?
Yeah, yeah.
Or I guess not.
Oh, I can. Let me do this. Window capture. Let me unlock it and let me go like this. Is that better?
Yeah, right there I'd say is better.
Okay, hold on.
Just
Maybe
the top of the screen is kind of,
there.
yeah.
There we go. It's got to be much better, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nice and centered. Look at that.
Okay. All right. Now I can lock it. Okay. All right. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 predictions correct. Okay. Out of 17. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of 17. So you were right more about the specific games. But one thing I want to take a look at is what were the record predictions based on this? That's what I'm interested in. So you had the 49ers going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10 and 7.
Sounds about right.
You had the Niners at 10 and 7. And then I had the 49ers at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I had them at 13 and 4. How did they finish? 12 and 5? I was pretty close.
Yeah, I believe so.
I was pretty close. So while you were more right game by game, I think the win total is maybe a little bit more important. So take that, bitch. No, just kidding.
Nice.
All right. And then obviously we had no way of knowing about the playoff games. I'm going to go ahead and switch it over. This was our week-to-week predictions. I'm not going to go too in-depth, but yeah, week 1, I was thinking the Seahawks were going to win that game, which they almost did until Jake Ton just, went up and ripped that one out of the air. Week 2 at the Saints, 49ers, they were just the better team. Plain and simple. Week 3, Cardinals. I thought maybe Kyler Murray was going to be a different, give the 49ers trouble. I was wrong. Jaguars. I thought the Niners were going to pull out a home game. Rams. The 49ers, that was the Mac Jones game, and man, was I shocked that Mac Jones led the 49ers to a victory in LA. Buccaneers, that is when Fred Warner dislocated his ankle, I believe, right?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it was that game, and I was wrong there. Falcons. Why did I pick the Falcons, Mike?
They were probably a little hotter early in the season rather than later. Um, Bijan,
I
maybe.
think
Yeah.
Bijan had like rushed for like 200 the week before or something like that. And I thought like there was no way that this 49ers team could stop them. And that was like one of the first big wins that I think like the Niners had, or obviously the Rams game, but like this team was resilient.
Mm,
And I think, oh, that's why. Because there was no Fred Warner, and I didn't think that they were going to be able to stop Bijan without Fred Warner.
yeah.
Texans, I thought the 49ers were going to, dominate the Texans, and then that defense was just too much. Giants, the 49ers just, scored a ton of points. Uh, we knew we knew that they were going to lose to the Rams. They were going to split. Cardinals, the 49ers definitely, you know, they took care of business against, I want to say that was Jacoby Brissett at the time. Panthers, I remember I did the predictions on the balcony at Pia's house, and I was saying how, for whatever reason, Dave Canales was just going to call a weird game, you know,
Mm,
and and I picked the Niners. I want to say you were going to pick the Panthers.
probably. I they have been a gritty team all season.
Yeah.
To the point where they were in the playoff race.
Browns, 49ers took care of the Browns. They took care of the Titans.
They won their division. I mean, yeah, I forgot that. Sorry,
Who did? Oh, the Panthers? Yeah.
Panthers. Yeah, they played the Rams. Rams won. Almost beat the Rams too.
Yeah. The Colts game was definitely interesting because Philip Rivers.
Huh.
And then the Bears. Uh, the Bears game was that was the best game all year, honestly. Oh, well, besides the Rams game, the first Rams game, I think the Bears game was so exciting, you know?
Yeah, no, that was a huge game, playoff implications and all, and just an offensive showcase
Yeah.
down to the last play.
And then, the Seahawks, obviously, week 18. That was a horrible game. And then we move on to the playoffs, right?
Mm.
We, Mike, you were 2 for 2. You are a rock star, and I suck. No.
Not if I picked the Eagles.
Oh, whoops. 1 for 2. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
you're good.
just, I was 0 for 2. Um, I would have been 1 for 2 as well, but let me just tell you, I, for whatever reason, the morning of, switched my pick to the 49ers from the Seahawks, and I've regretted it every day ever since.
Yep, you hexed them.
I did hex them.
Yeah.
That's why I was worried about picking the Niners. So, all in all,
Oh.
I think I think this year was a really good year. Um, and that being said, my expectations every year, or not expectations, but my desire every year is to win a Super Bowl. But when this team endures what it had to go through, and all the injuries and everything, I can't complain as a fan. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about how the Raiders did, Mike. Do
Let's
you
not.
how do you want to do this topic? We can either do it the same way that I did, or we can just kind of free ball it. But Kenny 49ers is tuning in, and I think that he is ready to hear about how the Raiders finally this year. I mean, 2025 is a great year for the Raiders, Mike. It is, because they finally tanked properly. Is
So
that
well
not
said.
worthy of a great year? Do we have a new head coach?
No.
What's going on?
No.
All right. I'll take any 49ers comment while you're reading. Kenny 49er says, all I can think about, Josh, is that the Rams have 2 first-round picks, and they have 2 first-round picks in Seattle, and the Rams have a top 5 money to spend in. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to understand because and not in. The Rams have 2 first-round picks and Seattle, and the Rams both have top 5 money. Oh, Seattle and the Rams both have top 5 money to spend in free agency. Yeah, but any given year, like, all right, how are we feeling about the Seahawks in this upcoming year if they somehow lose the Super Bowl? We're gonna get to the Super Bowl talk later, but let me just say Super Bowl hangovers are a thing because the emotional letdown is just very massive. Also, uh, things change so quickly in the NFL. Powerhouses come and go. It's very hard for the same, a team to stay the same over the course of a year because every year each team has to prove itself. The margin for error is so slim in the NFL too. But Mike, are you ready to talk about how the Raiders 2025 season?
Yes, I am. Sorry.
All right, tell me, Mike, did you enjoy this year?
um, how do I explain? So, I mean, I shouldn't really go on a week by week thing. And really, when we get to that point of this, we can just phase through that because there's no need.
Yeah.
But they had the week 1 win versus the Patriots of all teams in the Super Bowl. The Raiders started the season beating the Patriots, who went on to go to the Super Bowl. And then they lost like 3 in a row, 4 in a row, 5 in a row. Then they faced the Titans, who were at that time the worst team in football, and they beat them 20-10. And then the Raiders proceeded to lose the rest of their games until the final week of the season, and then got to meet up with the Chiefs, minus Mahomes, probably minus a bunch of other players, Rashee Rice, so on and so forth, and they beat them. And luckily, the Giants had already done us a favor in winning their game against the Cowboys and securing our pick in the draft, that being, of course, the number 1 pick. So I guess that's a good way to preface, first off, on how I feel. Second off, another preface, something we've been saying on here many times. For literal years now, we have come onto this podcast.
Nice.
And the Raiders have let us down, or let me down, one way or another. And we have said, when they get those just meaningless wins towards the end of the season, where they're in the running for the first overall pick, and then they win 2 out of the last 4, and suddenly they have the 7th pick, and you have no shot at a quarterback, or you get the 13th pick, and yada, 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 right? Like, the past at least 2 to 3 years has just felt like this post-Derek Carr, purgatory. And even the later years of Derek Carr was kind of purgatory between, the coaching carousel and just him not being consistent. Then you get Jimmy Garoppolo. Then you get Gardner Minshew, who was he our starter? I guess he was our starter that year.
Last year.
Yeah, what a joke. What? Why do I feel like there was supposed to be some other guy? Like, I know Aiden O'Connell was on the team.
Last year or this year?
The Gardner Minshew year.
It was It was Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Um, I'm trying to remember if there
Oh
was a
man.
third guy, but they competed in camp. The year before that, it was Jimmy Garoppolo um, and Aiden
Yeah,
O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell
I
has
mean that
been through the ringer in terms of like having to compete for the first string.
right. Well, that checks out because
Well, not through the
Antonio
ringer.
Pierce
There's firmer competition. But go ahead.
Antonio Pierce took over as the interim coach after Josh McDaniels gets let go. From that point on, uh, Garoppolo is done. So then it's Aiden O'Connell rest of the season. He does fine. Yeah, Desmond Ritter. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
that's
thinking like,
right.
well,
That's
I'm no,
right.
no. I'm just thinking beginning of season. Like in hindsight, and hindsight's always 2020. Just like Jimmy Garoppolo, just like Geno Smith. Like looking back right now, it's preposterous to me that Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco thought, yeah, Gardner Minshew, that'll do it. That's ridiculous. That's that's malpractice, however you say it. That's terrible. The thought that yeah, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell is going to get it done. In hindsight, what the fuck were you thinking? Anyways, um, but that's what we've been dealing with, And then this year it's Geno Smith, and like he's been a serviceable starter. I would say similarly, although not nearly as many wins in his career as Jimmy Garoppolo, in the sense that he's been serviceable. He's been able to win games as the quarterback of his team, right?
Hmm.
Geno Smith, relative to Jimmy Garoppolo with the Niners. Um, I think the problem with Geno it was I'm not trying to be a Geno sympathizer, but just the offense was atrocious this year between Chip Kelly, our offensive line coaching, not necessarily exclusively the personnel, but the pairing of mostly the coaching and the personnel was just a joke for this offense, and for any quarterback to have any level of success. Um, but yeah, I mean, Geno just wasn't the answer, clearly. Um, so yeah, point being here, what this season gives us is the opportunity to finally bring in the franchise quarterback. So to answer your question that started this all, did I have a good time this season? Did I enjoy this season? Uh, the first half of the season was a resounding fuck no. We were like 2-7, and it was like here we are again. You know, you had little spurts of Ashton Janty looking explosive and awesome, like the Bears game, I think the Titans game, and a few times later on in the season. But otherwise, it was like, oh my god, this offensive line, like I thought last year was bad with Luke Getzey. Like this year with Chip Kelly was way worse, in large part because of Brandon Carroll. And I haven't even mentioned Pete Carroll yet. Like you bring in Pete Carroll and Geno Smith, and it's like, all right, finally, like compared to Gardner Minshew and Antonio Pierce, this is a major upgrade. And somehow it was worse. I don't like as terrible as that is. The second half of the season was awesome because I was hate watching them. I was legitimately hate watching this team, and I was a fan of the opposing team week in and week out until the Raiders secured the number one overall pick via the Giants week 18, and then I got to root for the Raiders against the Chiefs, and that was fun. So the second half of the season, to answer your question, I enjoyed because they did what they needed to do. As I said, or prefaced, for years now we have said they need their franchise quarterback. Ever since Derek Carr left this team, I knew that offseason getting or moving on from Derek Carr was the right decision, but I knew with that comes a lot of pain and growing pains and potentially many years as it was and might still be, who knows, of purgatory, quarterback purgatory. Um, so this season ultimately gives us the opportunity to change that. Will Fernando Mendoza, should he be the number one overall pick to the Raiders, will he magically fix that issue? Not necessarily just him. It's got to be a collaborative effort. You have to bring in the right coaching staff. You have to bring in talent around him, specifically on the offensive line. You have to bring in better receivers, right? You have some good weapons in Ashton Gianti and especially Brock Bowers for a guy like Fernando Mendoza. You have Colton Miller, who can be healthy next year. You have Jackson Bowers Johnson, who's going to do whatever the fuck the next coaching staff decides to do with him. But he should be a starter on this offensive line. And then you have a couple of young guys in Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, and DJ Glaze. What are you going to do with them? And then other than them, you have an impending free agent in I keep thinking John Simpson. Dylan Parham at left guard. So, what happens there? And then, speaking of free agency, how do you upgrade on the offensive line? Because I think you need to get some veterans in there. You can't just draft and hope for the best. Like, what they need to do is develop the players that they have that have talent, and I'll get back to them. And you have to sign some guys that can come in and bring some veteran presence and capability on the offensive line specifically to support, potentially, most likely, Fernando Mendoza. So, all in all, to answer your question, should the Raiders turn in that card, first overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, which I expect, this season was the growing pain that I needed and this franchise needed. So in the moment, when you're going through that 40-6 loss to the Colts, is it fun? Did I enjoy that? No. But now I can sit here and be like, thank Christ they lost those games. Bears 25, Raiders 24. Thank you, God. Commanders 41, Raiders 24. Thank you. Chargers 20, Raiders 9. I remember that Monday Night Football being bummed out. Nope, thank you. Thank God. Raiders 7, Broncos 10. Thank you. Browns 24. I think that was Shedeur Sanders. Raiders 10. Thank you. So I could keep going, but Raiders 21, Texans 23. I don't know how we almost won that game. Thank you, God, we did not. Eagles 31, Raiders nothing. Praise be. Okay? Because we needed this. So, in a weird way, yes, I enjoyed this season. To answer your question, now we can move on to the next thing.
Yeah, sorry, I think maybe the best way to put it for Raider fans is you guys probably hated and did not enjoy the ride at all. Like, it was one of the worst rides ever. But you ended up in the right place. Like, you are now loving the destination, and Raider fans have rejoiced just kind of under the hope that Fernando Mendoza, the presumed first overall pick, is going to turn this franchise around, And then that's why, I'm sure there's Raider fans out there that are like, man, fuck the pick. Every year they're like, fuck the pick. I just want to win, right? They just want to see the team win. But, if your team's not going to be contending for Super Bowls, then these are meaningless fucking wins.
I guess it's hard for me to imagine being that fan because I'm so just driven into the what do you call that? The insider baseball of it all, right? Of
the analytics.
I know. No, not the fucking A's. Just the insider baseball, I think is what they call it. Of how the system goes. How everything works and how the system goes from here's a shitty team and then 2 years they're a good team. I have a good idea of what makes that happen. Whereas there are especially Raider fans who just don't give a shit to know and understand that stuff. They just care about sit down on couch, turn on game, hope Raiders win. Like, that is what their brain is week in and week out. It doesn't matter who's on the team. Obviously, they have some favorites because they play good. Max Crosby, Brock Bowers, now Ashton Janty. Cool. But until week 1 of the season, they don't know who Ashton Janty is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They hear a little bit about him. It's like, oh, this Ashton Janty guy, can't wait to watch him. When, like, us insider baseball guys know that he's from Boise State and he was a fucking menace in college. You know? Like, it bewilders me from where my perspective is as a fan that there are people like that. So, to your point, yes, there are people that are just like, I sure hope the Raiders win this week. And it's like, well, you're not looking ahead. If you're going into that Eagles game that we lose 31-0, if you're going into that going, I sure hope we win, I don't care about the pick. Well, you don't realize that Fernando Mendoza is the only quarterback in this draft class. And if we miss out on that, it's another year of dog shit. And maybe next year will be dog shit. It probably will be. But at least you have the quarterback that can potentially, if you surround him the right way, get you there in 2 years to suddenly being a winning team. That's what happened with Derek Carr. Bear in mind, Derek Carr was a second-round pick, so that one was, you don't have to care so much about the pick. But hey, they had the 5th overall pick. You know what else they got that year? Khalil Mack. Franchise-altering draft. 3rd-round pick, Gabe Jackson. Starting stalwart guard on the line for 5+ years. You have to knock it out in the offseason to have a shot at getting better. You can't just hire a new head coach and suddenly things are going to become better. It's not just that. You also have to have the right GM, the right people in charge to bring in the personnel, and say you hire the new head coach. What other who else do they hire on the coaching staff to support them and the players? That's the ultimate fault to Pete Carroll this year. Great head coach, we all know that. But he hires his fucking dipshit son to coach the offensive line in the NFL, which he's never done. That's why they sucked. Along with Geno Smith leading the league in turnovers, paired with the offensive line coaches, the offensive line being terrible. You can't run the ball, you can't throw the fucking ball. They were never going to win. And their defense wasn't that good. I mean, not terrible, but wasn't good enough to support that offense. So anyways, it's a whole fucking beast, and a lot of people don't understand that. So anybody saying, like, I don't care about the picks, I'm going on another rant because you said that. That's how much it fucking annoys me. Because you as a fan, you don't understand what it takes. And you're not forward thinking. You're just like,
you want
it's like a
instant
kid seeing ice
gratification.
cream. Yeah, it's like a kid seeing ice cream. It's like, I sure want ice cream now. Well, what I'm thinking of is I could get that ice cream, that little pint of ice cream. I want to fucking own an ice cream shop and sell ice cream and make money off that. That's the difference here. You want to just have a little spoonful of fucking ice cream. I want to have a gallon. You know what I mean? Like something to that effect of like, you're not seeing it the same as me here. Not that I'm like a fucking genius or anything. It's just there are fans like you and I, and probably everybody in the comments, that understand this. And then there are people that just watch football and I sure hope we win this week. Well, there have been many years for the Raiders where if you had just a little bit of an idea of how bad this fucking team looks on paper, you would know that we're not going to win this week.
Dude, hold on. All right, real quick. Shout out to Chewy's Raider coverage, tuning in. I want to get to this question right now from Kenny 49ers, or I guess this comment, because Mike, I have asked you this, and I know that you're very definitive in one direction, right? But I want to play devil's advocate, and I want to get this from you on the podcast right now.
I'm going to keep ranting. Go ahead.
Okay. The Raiders have the 1st overall pick The Ravens have a brand new head coach, or at least they're going to get a brand new head coach. I don't have they hired somebody yet?
Jesse Minter, yeah.
Okay. The Ravens have a brand new head coach. Uh, maybe Jesse Minter doesn't like Lamar Jackson. Maybe Lamar Jackson is movable. Do you trade the first overall pick for two-time MVP Lamar Jackson? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me, what do you do?
Canny 49ers, you are just cooking. All
Yeah,
right,
he's
so
cooking.
let me look at this. I'm gonna go to my dynasty fantasy football team that has Lamar Jackson on it. I'm a big fan of Lamar Jackson. Uh, how do I pose this? What sounds better to you? Having a quarterback that's worthy of the first overall pick in Lamar Jackson, playing at his, ultimate height, MVP caliber play for the next 4 years, or having a quarterback that's worthy of the first overall pick, leading the franchise for the next 12 plus years. Oh, and by the way, he's going to cost a fraction of the price for the first 5 years of that deal. For literally more time than you will have Lamar Jackson at his peak, which is probably very much better than Fernando Mendoza. Like, Fernando Mendoza he's kind of the, well, what's in the box? Whereas Lamar Jackson is a boat. But in
Yeah.
this case, to me, the box is the size of a boat, or actually, better yet, it's Christmas wrap paper, and it's the shape of a boat. You know what I mean? Like, we know that we're getting a boat in this box or under this wrapping paper. I know that that's a boat. I just can't tell if it has rust stains on it or if it's a brand new, newly painted, brand new engine, everything in between, all the fucking things. I don't know yet if Fernando Mendoza is the best boat ever or he's going to be a dog shit boat. But what I do know is that this other boat, the Lamar Jackson boat, is an aging boat who is probably pretty close to past his prime. And I know that I'm in the market. How should I say this? Okay. I'm not going to be going on the water for at least 2 years. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be using a boat for the next 2 years. Obviously, no matter which quarterback you have, you're going to use them. But my point is, you have Lamar Jackson. It's kind of similar to me of like trading for a running back. It's like that is the ultimate luxury, right? Like when a team is ready to take the next step, that's when you trade for a running back. That's what we've seen. Or once you get the rookie quarterback, then you trade for a star receiver. That's what you've seen in like the past 5+ years. This Lamar Jackson trade idea that I've seen in so many people talk about recently, you only trade for Lamar Jackson, and bear in mind, trading the ultimate draft pick you will have potentially in the next 20 years, because that's how long it's been practically since Jamarcus Russell. You don't get the first overall pick very often. Like, point being, we would need to be a winning team. Like, and I just don't see that. That seems ridiculous to me. You know? So, okay, you trade the first overall pick for Lamar Jackson, and then you suck anyways for the next 2 years. And then, right now, he's 29 years old, probably, well, obviously, going on 30. So next year, he'll be 30 years old. You know what I also don't like about this idea? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shit on anybody. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. He's a mobile quarterback. Just the other day, I saw a TikTok that was just a highlight sort of reel of Russell Wilson in his prime. Do you remember how fucking good Russell Wilson was in the pocket and at
Dude,
evading pressure?
dude, he was like Brock Purdy on roids.
He was he was like Kyler Murray on roids. Like a mixture of the two of them, but
Yep.
better. Like Russell Wilson was god tier
Yeah.
at avoiding pressure and being able to run scramble for first downs. Like not many other players were better than him at that. Do you remember the past like 3+ years or his entire stint with the Broncos and even the last like year or two with the Seahawks? Like the fall off for Russell Wilson was insane.
Hmm.
So bad that you probably forgot how fucking good he was. Because all you think of now is, yeah, Russell Wilson, he fucking sucks. He couldn't even keep the starting job on the Steelers.
Okay. So
That's going to be Lamar Jackson.
I don't forget how good Russell Wilson was because I'm a 49er fan. But one thing that I will say is I know that collectively as a whole, Russell Wilson has played himself out of the Hall of Fame. He is not going to be a Hall of Famer. Whereas I feel like at a certain point, he had that Hall of Fame trajectory. He was just missing the MVP votes, right? He was always among the best quarterbacks, like every year. Um, so I don't know. When it comes to Lamar Jackson, he has won MVPs, and one thing I'll say is, I I would also hold on to the first pick if I was the Raiders, solely because they're just not ready to win yet. And by the time the roster is ready to actually contend and win, um, like you said, Lamar's going to be past his prime. So it's not a very forward thinking pick. It's a very much, you know,
No
it's a
offense, this Lamar trade idea is the type of trade that somebody who sits down on Sunday, grabs the remote, turn TV on, put on Raider game, hope Raiders win. Those people want Lamar Jackson to be traded to the Raiders. That's the
mhm.
best way I could put it. Other
Okay.
than everything I already talked about.
Okay. What if the question was not about Lamar? And I know this quarterback is not on the table, but let's just, for example, say it was Joe Burrow. Is it an easy yes? You would take Joe Burrow?
Uh, well, let me see. I gotta see his age, honestly. But here's my problem with it, okay? So Joe Burrow, he's 29 years old. I'm good. The problem is not just the age. Like the age is the biggest thing because the trajectory of this franchise, the Raiders, is we need to rebuild. That's your trajectory. So going out and trading for a 30-year-old quarterback just doesn't fucking make sense to it doesn't compute. It doesn't make sense. Um it bewilders me. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to seem like overly like this is dumb, but to me, as a Raider fan, it's a dumb idea.
Mm.
I would be so pissed off. I'd be so pissed off. I would rather trade back from the first overall pick, accumulate more picks in the 2027 draft, maybe even 2028. I don't know how it works. Or you get like the best example would be like the Jets. Like I mean they have the second pick, so it's kind of rich, but okay, best example would be the Rams. If the Rams wanted Fernando Mendoza to be the successor to Matthew Stafford, they're like, we are ready to win a Super Bowl. Fuck it, let's do it. Let's set ourselves up for the next 12+ years after Stafford. They offer their 2 first-round picks this year and their first-round pick next year. Would I do it? No. But I would rather do that than trade for Lamar Jackson. Maybe I sound insane to some people, and it's like, well, you just don't want to win. No, I do. I just want to win Super Bowls. I don't want to win bullshit games year in, year out, win 6 games a year, and be in fucking purgatory for another 20 years of my fucking life. I want to see this team get to a point where they can contend for Super Bowls. And trading for Lamar Jackson and getting maybe 4 great years out of him, and bear in mind how dog shit this roster is right now, it's going to take at least 1 year, if not 2, to have this roster compete with a guy like Lamar Jackson. So then you get to his 32-year-old season when he can't fucking run anymore. Well, then what's the fucking point? Just give me Fernando Mendoza. This is so fucking stupid. I'm sorry. And this isn't anything towards Kenny 49ers. This has been the talk for the past, week. It's like, oh, the rumor is the Raiders and Lamar Jackson. There might be a trade here. Get the fuck out of here. The lying season has already started. We don't even have a coach yet. What are we talking about? We don't know what the fuck we're doing yet. Sorry.
Yeah. You chose red in the background, not for the 49ers this stream. You chose red in the background because you chose violence today, okay? You just took out all your anger on Kenny 49ers. And he's so loyal. He's been watching us for the past couple weeks, and look at what you did to him. He might not watch us anymore.
No, you know what? No, it's nothing personal. It's a great question. I did want to talk about this, so I appreciate it. Just to
it's
get my
your
thoughts
fault,
clear.
Michael. It's your fault.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Well, just once the Raiders earned the first overall pick, my care for this team and my passion. Yes, my passion immediately came back like that. Once they earned the first overall pick, my passion came back like that. I was mad about Pete Carroll. I was mad about Brendan Carroll. I was mad about all that shit. And it's like, all right, the hope is back. We should be getting a franchise quarterback. Do I know for a fact that Fernando Mendoza is a franchise quarterback? No, I don't. But God help me, it's worth the shot. That's the point. That's the ultimate point. Is it's worth the shot for that 5 years of contract control at not a league minimum, but so much cheaper than what Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson are going for. We're going to have Geno Smith affecting our cap space for the next at least year, if not 2 years. Dead cap hits. That's annoying. I'm tired of that. We probably just got done paying, if not this year, Jimmy Garoppolo. We might have still had I guarantee you we still had Gardner Minshew on the books this year. That's quarterback purgatory, is still paying for quarterbacks that aren't on your roster anymore. That's another plus of getting a rookie contract and making that work and just going through that for 5 years. Is you don't have to worry about paying a Geno Smith $40 million a year. We can instead be paying a rookie quarterback who will develop and hopefully has the capability of being the next Joe Burrow. Do I think he will be? No. I think he's more like a Matt Ryan. I think he's more like a Trevor Lawrence. I think he's somewhere in that range.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is great. That to me is what this team needs. They need to just build this team the right way from the inside out. And maybe the better scenario would be getting the first pick in the 2027 draft, and maybe Arch Manning is sitting there. And, this year we got a stud offensive lineman and a really good receiver, And then it's like, oh, the team around the quarterback is way better. Now you get the rookie for 5 years, yada, yada, yada. But we're in this spot right now where we have the first pick. You have to capitalize on that. Trading for Lamar Jackson is not capitalizing on that in the long term for this franchise.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? You left me kind of speechless there, Mike, because like you said, all right. I've been doing this show with you for about 3 years, and we've been saying that the Raiders need to tank and get a quarterback, and now there's a clear-cut number 1 overall pick, and the Raiders, they've got the golden ticket. If I was you, I would have been holding my breath every single time that he dropped back in that national championship game. Like there was a play where
Yeah,
he got hit low, or like the D lineman like went at his legs or almost
it was like
rolled up on his legs.
well, there was
Uh,
one where they popped his lip, like, and it should have been a targeting penalty, and they didn't. He was bleeding from his lip the rest of the game.
yeah,
I mean, that's the thing about him. He's really tough, and I mean, I love his accuracy. I love a lot of his game. What also makes me just over the moon for him, I see you're kind of like hovering over that comment from Kenny 49ers.
no,
I'll read
no,
it right now.
I just no, no,
Okay,
I
I'll read it. Just a glimpse of Mendoza compared to Shadur Sanders last season. Sanders had more touchdowns passed, more passing yards, and higher completion percentage. That's fine and dandy. Who would you rather have? Genuinely, genuine question. Who would you rather have leading your franchise as a person? Shadur Sanders, the Pro Bowler, which I say that with a lot of snark. That is a joke.
he's got more
Would you rather have
interceptions than
Shadur?
touchdowns.
Yes. Would you rather have Shadur Sanders leading your franchise or this kid, Fernando Mendoza? If you're paying any attention, I can give you the answer. It's Fernando Mendoza, and it's by a fucking mile. Like, from a PR standpoint, this kid is perfect. Perfect. He is shaping up as though he is built to lead a franchise. He's going on an amazing press tour right now, post Heisman, post obviously national championship. I mean, every fucking mom in America that is paying any attention fucking loves him and considers him their own son. Like he's he's an amazing prospect from a PR and personal standpoint. Um, we've had we've had many questionable quarterbacks like Johnny Manziel would be a good example. Not first overall pick, but a guy that had a lot of hype and people who were sitting on their couch and grabbing their remote and going, "Turn on TV on Saturday. Turn on Texas A&M." And then they see Johnny Manziel, they think that guy's going to be the next great thing in the NFL, when I think a lot of people realized at some point, yeah, hold your horses. You know, there's a lot that goes into that. And my hunch, and this is just a gut call, but Fernando Mendoza has everything that's needed to be an ultimate pro and to be a franchise quarterback. Whereas my gut tells me Shadur Sanders does not. Does not. So the stats in college, that's fine. It's the same as Johnny Manziel. Like Johnny Manziel was fucking amazing in college. It's a different game. Like when you watch them with your eyes, Fernando Mendoza is a guy that can make all the throws. His accuracy is insane. The other thing to consider with Mendoza is he he was in an offense that was not catered to the passing game so much as it was to the running game and the RPO, aspect of the offense. Indiana was very much run first or RPO type system. And then when the throws need to be made, Mendoza 9 times out of 10 is going to make that throw. That's what he was dealing with in college. He's going to get to the NFL and it's going to be pass first. You're the first overall pick. You're going to be throwing the fucking football. So we'll see how that goes and we'll see how he translates. But another thing I know is that his hero, other than probably his parents, his football hero is Tom Brady. Like, that is the guy that he's molded himself after from day one. And you're telling me that he's going to be drafted by him, most likely? Like, I don't know, man. That excites the fuck out of me. And it's funny because a year ago, Shadur Sanders was this guy that, like, oh, he's trained with Tom Brady. Like, they have a somewhat of a relationship here, yada, yada, yada. Well, he's not a Raider. He had 5 rounds where they could have picked him, and they never did. Um, and hey, he's a Pro Bowler, but again, more interceptions than touchdowns. Yeah, the Browns weren't the best supporting cast, just like the Raiders won't be next year. We'll see how it goes for Mendoza. Um, but I'm just not so much of a believer in Shadur. And I think paired with that as the player is the PR and the personal that comes with that. And to me, Shadur Sanders is a fucking nightmare.
Mm-hmm. Uh, Kenny 49er says, also, I'm a huge Shadur Sanders supporter. So just in this particular case, I definitely choose Shadur. Shadur just needs a great coach. He literally has only worked with Dion, and he thinks that Sanders is a big playmaker. Give Sanders a line and just one wide receiver. He'll be very good. He didn't have either in Cleveland. He only had Fannin, the tight end, and Fannin had a great season. I I'm also very skeptical on Shador Sanders. Like, I mean, if he turns it around and plays very well, like, you know, I think I would be a little bit more surprised, but maybe I'm just kind of quick to write him off. But
Yeah.
um,
I just think my key here is in comparison to Fernando Mendoza, it's not really close for me, but I will give Shadur the benefit of the doubt that I think if you do surround him with the right talent, he can succeed in the league. It's just I think he would fall more in line with the Geno Smith, where like literally the career arc of Geno Smith is probably what I expect for Shadur Sanders, where he's going to be a perennial backup and then maybe he gets that chance. And right now he has a chance. We'll see what the Browns decide to do coming out of this offseason. But, Geno Smith started his career as a starter, second round pick. Should have been a second round pick. Um, he's the starter right now. We'll see where that goes for him. If it fails, he'll be a perennial backup. Maybe he finds another shot someday. Just like look at Sam Darnold right now. Like I think in the right scenario, most quarterbacks can, you know, become a startable guy. Um, to what level depends on not only themselves but also the talent around them. So yeah,
I think it would be really funny to go in and like make a checklist of like what is the perfect quarterback and just kind of design the list based off of the mistakes and whatnot of other quarterbacks, or I guess the drawbacks of other quarterbacks that are currently in the league. Like, let's just say, in order for Fernando Mendoza to be a perfect quarterback, he must, and then like we just go one by one. Like, I guess the first one could be, since we're talking about Shador, not have a dad who is a Hall of Famer and has coached him his entire life, and then check. And then the next could be uh, he can make all the throws, check. Um, the next one could be doesn't like massages, right? And then just like go through each and every quarterback's like kind of drawbacks. Does he date porn stars? No, check, right? Because I feel like every quarterback kind of has their own thing, whether it's like a off the field thing or an on the field thing, you know.
yeah,
Um,
and with time, assuming Fernando Mendoza is a Raider, I'll get to know those things that are the negatives of Mendoza's game. Um, my hunch would be that most of his negatives will revolve around the supporting cast on the Raiders. Um, whereas Shadur Sanders, I feel like has true baggage with him. Um, but I will admit, if for lack of a better term, he can make all the throws. You know, not not necessarily saying like he will consistently make all the throws, but I know Shadur has like the capability to be a starter. I know that.
yeah, as Kenny
But I
49ers,
it's just it's his PR and his personal outside of quarterbacking for whatever team. That's my issue with him is like it's probably this new age, and it's probably going to become a bigger thing. But like having your dad be Deion Sanders, uplifted him so much in the media to where it's like, I mean, he started at Jackson State, which I didn't really hear about him at Jackson State. But like once he went to Colorado, it was like everybody and their mom is talking about Shadur Sanders. Why do you think that is? It's not like he was breaking records, at least not many, if any. Maybe Colorado records, sure, but like, was he out there playing like Andrew Luck? No. It's because of his dad. Not saying that he's not good, and it's only because of his dad. He was solid, but you know, and then you're in the NFL, and it's like he's got a press team with him all the time, anywhere he walks, and it's just like, dude, this is not being a franchise quarterback, a franchise leader. Like that's not how you do it. So I just 10 times out of 10, I would take Fernando Mendoza and what I truly see him becoming. Uh,
Mm.
you know, over Shedeur.
Yeah, there was just like so much spotlight on Shador, in college. It would be like, let's just pick a random, car make, right? Like, let's just say a Mazda, right?
Mm.
And Mazda is the only car, or they're the car that's getting the most commercials ran, you know, and then you're just seeing all these Mazda commercials, right? Like it might not be the best car, but it's the one that you're seeing the most of, and it's doing a hell of a job of marketing itself, to be the best car on the market. So like him having Deion Sanders just kind of have this like lens just pointed at Colorado and pointed at Shador, like I'm not saying Shador is the Mazda, but what I'm saying is like just that spotlight. He had the spotlight. Like was he good enough to I think warrant being selected in the first round, or are we just hyper aware of him because everybody's focusing on the whole story of, oh, this is Deion Sanders' son, you know? And I also have to say that that's also going against him too. Like it's not just going for him, it's going against him because that's a big shadow that he has to like overcome in his life, and I know that like that's probably not easy for him either. Um, but But yeah, Anthony C says Mendoza looks like he eats dino nuggets and mac and cheese before games.
I know that's been like a meme. Uh, somebody said something that was funny. No, Mendoza. I mean, to a point, Mendoza is almost a little bit too perfect. Um, and I guess I would worry a little bit that maybe if he were to, for lack of a better term, suck, right? Say the first 2 to 3 years, and it's just like, oh God, here it is again, quarterback purgatory for this franchise. Um, there would probably come a point where his niceness would become so fucking annoying,
Yeah,
right? If
Mike
he's
in a
just every week, yeah, just like, yeah, well, we have to keep battling and, just saying all the normal PR shit, like, I will lose my mind for sure.
yeah,
But I'd rather have that than an aging Lamar Jackson. And, right when the team gets good and they make the playoffs with Lamar Jackson in like 2 to 3 years, and my hope goes up, I then realize, oh God, he's 33 and he has a noodle arm and he fucking sucks now. I'd
yeah,
much rather have the kid on the 5 year deal, cheaper than Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, etc. And you can properly build out the roster around him and just give the kid a shot, just like we're talking about with Shadur, Kenny, 49ers, of like, if you could fill out the roster around Shadur Sanders, give him a shot. It's the same thing for me with Fernando Mendoza, except I think he's worth a first overall pick. Whereas Shadur, Lamar Jackson right now, I don't think so.
hmm
Anyways.
um, I think it's gonna be funny in a couple years. Like, let's just say that Mendoza sucks, and the Raiders get him. Mendoza's gonna be like, yeah, I would die for my teammates. I want to go out, I want to go to battle for my teammates. I want to be good. we need to do better in these areas, Mike's going to be like, shut the fuck up. Aiden O'Connell should be the starter. And then Aiden O'Connell's going to have another mountain to climb.
Yeah, no, if we pick Mendoza, I'm going to be full support for Mendoza unless he proves me wrong, and it's going to take at least 2 years to do that for me. Of like, I need to see this kid develop and be given the right amount of time, and I would have to wait until he has the proper roster surrounding him for me to ultimately say, yeah, he ain't him. It would take at least 3 years, I think, into his contract for me to decide that. By the time they make the decision on the 5th year option, that's when you should know, is he going to be like CJ Stroud? Like a pretty good example would be CJ Stroud, except he started like this, and ever since then he's done this.
Yeah.
Like right now, if I were the Texans, I'd be scared as shit, and I'd be thinking, I don't think we can re-sign him. That's how bad he was. He fumbled the ultimate defense in the league in the play. Like he lost. He lost them the game.
Yep.
So
They
and
probably
that's
would be
year
the ones
3.
in the Super Bowl right now.
Honestly, yeah, that defense would have ate the fuck up in that championship game. Yeah, if they just beat the Patriots. Did they face the Patriots?
No, the Texans yeah, they did. They did. They faced the Patriots.
Yeah. I mean, if they faced the Broncos in the championship, they'd absolutely be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Um, I think I'm ready to move on to our next topic. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a lot more time to talk about Mendoza. So,
Yeah. All right. Let's go ahead. Oh, that's not it. This is our next topic. We're going to talk about our top 5 favorite players in 2025. I guess I'll uh, specify 2025. Mike, are we going to start with the 49ers?
yeah.
We'll start at 5 or any honorable mentions first, and then we'll work our way to 1. I want to kind of limit honorable mentions to maybe 1 or 2. Um, just to like kind of for time's sake, and then like obviously you like most players on the team, but I want to just keep it to top 5 because we've been doing it every year. Do you want to go first for the Niners, and then or say your 5th, and then I'll say my 5th, or do we want to? How do we want to do this? What sounds like the best?
I'll go with my 5th, and then you go with yours.
Okay.
No, I'll just go 5-1.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you go 5-1.
Go,
Because
yeah. Yeah.
if my 5 is your 3, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it's like, let's bring him up a second time.
Go with your 5.
All right.
Go with your 5.
Yeah. All right. So number 5 for my top 5, I guess, favorite Niners on the season. Yeah. I think mine probably mostly goes with like storylines, right? Like, obviously, I'm not like some big Niner fan or something, so it's not like I have a big, oh, this is my favorite player type of feeling here. It's just from the storylines of this season relative to this team, these are the 5 guys that kind of stood out to me the most.
Mm-hmm.
Number 5 being Eddie Pinheiro. Sort of like when we started this pod tonight, talking about the story of the Niners season this year and all that. In comparison to Moody, like Eddie Pinheiro is an angel.
Mm-hmm.
You guys really lucked out with that signing. Not necessarily lucked out, but just like it went from the worst case scenario to literally the best case scenario. Like he came in and was just immediately the best kicker on the season until I guess the Seahawks just started scoring insane amount of points and would just kick a field goal every other drive with their kicker, from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
But Eddie Pinheiro was money. Number 4 favorite Niner on the season, George Kittle. I guess this is probably the least storyline and more of just like I love George Kittle. Like if genuinely, if you were to ask me who is my favorite 49er year in, year out, the past 5+ years, it's been George Kittle. Um, just the person, the player, everything about him. Um, he's one of the best football players in the country, and it's a total letdown, to say the least, that, he tore his fucking Achilles. That sucks.
Yeah.
Um, but he was having a great year. So, number 4, Kittle. Number 3 is a tie. It's the two quarterbacks. It's Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. The storyline of Mac Jones coming in and winning games and the way that he did. I mean, that Rams game was just fucking hilarious. The way that his pants were like practically falling off of him. And he just looked like a 40-year-old who just ate one too many burgers, and now he has to go play, a turkey bowl for Thanksgiving. Um, and he fucking won the game against the Rams. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it was hilarious and impeccable. And then Brock Purdy, once he came back, we were all kind of sitting there like, I mean, I think some people were thinking like, come on, you see the contract, you can't just suddenly be like, well, do we keep Brock Purdy, or is he the starter? But he came back and immediately put any doubt, you know, away.
Yeah.
He just tore up the rest of that season and looked great, and he looked like he was worth that contract that he got this past off season.
Yeah. Can we recap who were your people so far so I can write it down?
Eddie Pinheiro at 5, George Kittle at 4. At 3 is Mac Jones / Brock Purdy.
Oh, you're putting
It's a
both in
tie.
one line?
Yeah, it's a tie. I have a tie in the Raiders one as well, so just to get more guys on the list. Number 2 for me is Upton Stout. Uh, Very underrated season from him for a rookie. I believe a 3rd-round pick. This was a guy when he was on the board towards the end of the 3rd round, or whenever, maybe it was the early 3rd round. I was sitting there thinking, I'd love for him to be a Raider. If the pick were to find itself, where the Raiders are picking next.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess the storyline here with him for me is like the validation for me of like, being in that pre-draft sort of mentality and trying to, for lack of a better term, because I'm not scouting like a legitimate scout, obviously, but watching what I can and seeing the stats that I can see, Upton Stout was a guy that kind of stuck out to me. Um, in the cornerback class, which is a class that the Raiders desperately needed to look into last year's draft, and was a guy that I really liked, going into the draft. So to see him be on this Niners team and be one of the standouts on defense, especially I'd say the second half of the year, um, but when you have Boza out, you have Michael Williams out, you have Fred Warner out, and you have some safeties who aren't playing that good sometimes, like Malik Mustafa, right? But Upton Stout he came to play ball every week, you know.
Yeah. Mustafa was
And then
so bad this year.
yeah, and then number one's pretty easy. It's Christian McCaffrey. He gets the healthy season and he just fucking explodes like usual. Um, I mean, from a fantasy football perspective, he certainly wasn't my favorite, but from the sense of like I appreciate getting to watch this guy play football, and this dude's just fucking nuts. It's Christian McCaffrey.
Hmm. All right. Well, I knew I was forgetting somebody. Um, I need to find out where I'm gonna put them. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I know where.
Let's hear it. Number 5.
All right. I'm gonna start with some honorable mentions. I ended out with 4. Um, man. This is all right. Honorable mentions are D. Winters, because I just love the way that he would play fast and fly to the ball. He wasn't the best linebacker, that's for sure. But I liked seeing him hit. He would always he was one of the only players that showed up in that Seattle game. Uh, this past one, the playoff game. So I appreciate him for that. Um, so that's an honorable mention there. Eddie Pinheiro, I added to my list because you just mentioned him. Trent Williams is another honorable mention, and then somebody I had to slide to honorable mention, and I could make the case that they're in the top five. Um, I mean, it's all very close. It's all very close in the top five. But honorable mention, who just barely got bumped out, was Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings had the season that I thought maybe Ricky Pearsall might have. And dude, Jennings was just clutch this year. And I know that he's probably going to get paid more than the 49ers can afford. And, he was the go to guy in the passing game. And, also, you think, he had really good highlights. He was playing with, fractured ribs. I know he wanted to get paid before the season, and he had a really good year. So, shout out to Juwan. And it's kind of sad too because I feel like when they first drafted him, I was pretty excited about the pick, and people who get excited about seventh round picks are typically disappointed because the players never pan out unless you're the 49ers when you have Juwan Jennings and Brock Purdy. But yeah, it's like I'm almost gonna say goodbye to Jennings, and I don't know. He's been kind of he's not one of the superstars, but he is a big time player, if that makes sense.
Mm.
He's a playmaker for sure. Like look at
I
that
think
that trick play against the Eagles. Without that play, the Niners don't win a playoff game this year. They'll probably get better draft position, but that's neither here nor
s-
there.
slightly off topic, but I really do think Juwan Jennings would be a great addition for the Raiders this offseason to pair with Mendoza in that receiving room, you know?
Yeah,
But ultimately, more than that, I think in an offseason when you're already going to say goodbye to Brandon Ayuk, losing Juwan Jennings feels like a big loss to me for the Niners. And you're not going to have Kittle for the first half of the year, at least probably. Um, Granted, Ton just looked really good, and maybe he should be another honorable mention, probably a deep honorable mention. He stood up, he stepped up when you needed him,
yeah.
you know,
I'm gonna put him actually.
but unless Pearsall can fucking stay healthy, who is your number one receiver on this team? Next year,
Yeah,
I just think, losing Juwan Jennings feels like a big loss. But anyways, continue.
it is gonna be a big loss. Number five, I've got George Kittle. And not I've got Kittle at number five because I mean he did miss a good chunk of games this year due to injury. And players above on the list also missed some games due to injury, but I didn't feel like Kittle had like his best season or anything. But I mean he's still George Kittle, and I fucking love him. He's one of my favorite Niners of all time, so he's in my top five. Um, then at number four, I've got Fred Warner. Um, I've got him at number four, even though he did get injured very early on, because I still feel like he was around the team and trying his very best to get back and play. We almost thought that he might play against the Seahawks, and he thankfully did not get on the field to play against the Seahawks because that would have been he would not have made the difference in that game. And
And yeah, and
it
God forbid he gets hurt again, or imagine if he tore his Achilles. How fucking terrible that would be.
Yeah, with our luck, right? But just kind of his leadership too. I really fucking appreciate Fred Warner. I think he's such a great Niner. He's going to be definitely. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer and a 49er Ring of Honor player.
Definitely Ring of Honor, like no doubt there. Um, I'd have to see his final stats, to make the call on the Hall of Fame, but he's up there.
Yeah.
Um, was he not the player that made like the final tackle in that Rams overtime game, or like a big tackle in that first Rams game with Mac Jones? Or maybe I'm thinking of like,
It was
oh,
Alfred
honorable
Collins.
mention, honorable mention for me, Alfred Collins. Fuck, there's a guy I forgot. Honestly, you could put Alfred Collins tied with Upton Stout for me. Like he was such a stud this year. Go ahead.
Yeah, I liked Alfred Collins too. I just, for the sake of trying to narrow it down to 5, I had to leave him out. Even though I pretty much have like 10 here now on my list.
Yeah.
So number 3, I've got Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy was actually so close to number 1. I'll reveal who I forgot from the list. After it's all said and done, I'll have you guess who I forgot, Mike. Um, but all right, so Brock Purdy at number 3, and then very close at number 2, it was Mac Jones. All right, not to say that I think that Mac Jones is better than Brock Purdy, but I'd say I got more enjoyment from like just kind of the story of Mac Jones this year, and like him coming in, finally playing under the Shanahan system, and then also like his like all the stories you hear like maybe in the locker room, uh, and like his interactions with like Grant and just kind of how he would compose himself in the press conferences. Hold on, Mike. Let me try and fix the. I don't know what happened to Discord. Me. Hold on here. All right. Did that? I think. No, that didn't fix it. I don't know what's going on.
It says the stream has ended on my part.
Okay. Let me. All right. Are we back? Is that good?
Seems that way, yeah.
All right. As I was saying, I got Mac Jones. I actually really mess with his personality. At least what he shows the media and everything. Like, he can actually be like pretty damn funny. So I really liked having him on the team this year. Uh, I'd say in the grand scheme of things, I like Brock Purdy more than Mac Jones. Like, you know, in terms of my favorite Niners of all time. So I don't want people to like get that confused or anything. But for this year, I did like Mac a little bit more. Like just the personality has to do with it.
Right, the storyline. Yeah.
Storyline. And then number 1, I've got Christian McCaffrey. And Christian McCaffrey was literally the entire 49ers offense. And like I'm just honestly shocked that he was able to stay healthy after like I wonder what his body feels like after this season. You know?
Mm.
Like dude probably feels like he got like run over by a train 3 times.
Yeah, he was he was getting like at least 25 touches a game, it felt like.
Yeah. So that didn't really change until week 18 of the Seattle game. Oh, Mike, what is going on? I don't know what's going on with
I
Discord.
Yeah, it's not me.
Yeah, hold on. Okay. Sorry guys. Bear with us with our technical difficulties. Mike, do you want to guess who was the person that I forgot to add?
Was it somebody in your top five?
It was somebody in my top five.
I feel like, I mean, honestly, it might have been Purdy.
No, no, it wasn't Purdy.
Oh, and I'd say Kittle.
Nope.
Okay, well then the first guy I was thinking was McCaffrey. Like somehow you just fucking forgot McCaffrey.
Yeah, I did just
Yeah.
forget about McCaffrey, dude. And then he ended up being number
Yeah.
one, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how
I
the
mean,
fuck did I was like, how did I forget about McCaffrey?
between
He
your
was
fantasy season and him being the entire offense, the one like actual thread all the way through. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It almost like I'm not even joking with you right now. Like I genuinely forgot. And I feel like if anybody from our fantasy league sees this part of the podcast and they found out I forgot that like Christian McCaffrey was on the 49ers, like
Just a slap in the face.
yeah, this would be like the biggest like just middle finger straight to straight to them after everything this year, dude. Kenny 49er says stem cells cure everything. Yeah, they seem to have cured McCaffrey. That trip to Germany. Obviously, it didn't work last year, but hey, man, I don't know how long stem cells stay in your system, or, you know,
Mm.
I think that he was just devouring the souls. But now we can move on to the Raiders, the top 5 Raiders of this year. Don't worry, I don't have any honorable mentions, but I think that I should kick off this one. What do you think, Mike?
Sure.
All right. Number 5, I'm going to go with Michael Mayer. And the reason why I'm going with Michael Mayer is because, I feel like we had higher expectations from him over the past couple of years. Discord just freaking did it again. I wonder if it's like my computer just like tapping out and then not allocating resources for Discord right now. I'm going to try and fix that again. Should I just restart Discord?
As long as it doesn't fuck with the feed or the stream on YouTube, you know.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Hold on. Bear with me, guys. I know that I still have you here. I'll wait until Mike is back, or until I get Mike back on, for me to give my top 5. He'll literally, we'll get that back up in a second. I don't know what's going on with my computer today. It's like I'm just at work all day, come back, and my computer doesn't even work. It's like I have to buy a new one. Stupid COVID computer, you know? Oh, I almost joined the wrong Discord. All right. What the hell? Live stream. Josh and Mike currently in voice. Hey Mike, can you do me a favor? Can you leave Can you leave the Discord, the voice chat, and then come back in? All right.
I didn't hear that last part, but I'm assuming come back in.
Yeah. All right. Turn your video back on, boy.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's finish out this stream. All right.
I mean, good God. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. All right. Number 5, Michael Mayer. There were the expectations, obviously, early in his career, and then for whatever reason, he kind of disappeared. But I feel like in the games that Brock Bowers was out this year, he did prove that he's still, a decent to very good tight end. So, he's going to be my number 5. Number 4 is going to be a guy that's not even on the team anymore, Jacoby Myers. I know that I just killed Mike. And the reason why I'm choosing Jacoby Myers is because
God.
I mean he started off the year not even wanting to be on the Raiders anymore. He wanted to be traded, and rightfully so. Like he just didn't want to lose, and he went to a good destination for him in Jacksonville, and I thought that it was like heartwarming that even after he was traded, he was still shouting out his teammates that were on the Raiders and still rooting for those guys. So I thought that was like really, I thought that was really cool of him.
Wow.
Of like, I'd say like most NFL players don't even really talk about their old teams like that because it's like, they're just professional athletes and wherever they're playing is all they care about. But it was like a really cool like personal moment right there. So also he was a really good receiver. Mike, we're just
Son of
gonna
a bitch.
yeah we're just gonna keep going.
Okay.
I don't know why it's doing that.
Let's see if I do this. All
It
right,
might be on.
continue.
It's probably on my end.
It seems to be.
Yeah, I think my. I bet you my graphics card didn't load up well, or something like that, and then it's tapping out.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it's a podcast, or it's called a podcast for a reason, so it's not like you need my face in there.
yeah, and then Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers at number 3.
Mm.
Obviously, I had him in fantasy the year before, and while Brock Bowers was hurt, he had that one game this year where he just proved that he was still elite and still very, very good. He was just being held back by like a bad team and obviously injury.
Yeah.
Number 2, which maybe I would flip 2 and 3, but number 2 I've got Ashton Genty. Um, Ashton Genty I think did show promise in a stretch of games and was pretty good. Obviously the offensive line coaching was not very sound and the offensive line wasn't that great, but I still think that it was like fun to watch him play. And like when he would get openings, I think he looks like a very promising running back, to be honest.
Mm.
And then number 1, I've got Max Crosby. And while I don't like the fact that Max Crosby threw a big fit and he might not be a Raider, well, it seems like that's cooled off. It really feels like that situation has cooled down. So, because Max Crosby left the building, right, Mike? He left the
Yeah, I
building.
mean,
It seems like
I think,
maybe he went home and maybe he might have re entered the building. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, he was back in the building soon after and was like at the games the next 2 weeks, like hyping up the team. Like, of course, he's going to disagree with that decision of like, I want to play, I can play, I physically can, but I'm sure he also realized like, yeah, like ultimately, probably the right decision because he even came out and said he knew he needed surgery back in fucking September. Like, that's nuts. So I don't know, but I really think everybody was overblowing it because of the way that what's his name, Jay Glazer, fucking tweeted that tweet of like he has now left the building. It sound like that immediately sounds like, oh, he wants out, he's done. No, he just left the building because he has nothing else to do. He's not playing. Come on.
Well, let me tell you,
So
Mike, players, they don't ever leave the building. Okay? Max Crosby went home to his family and left the building.
yeah,
No, I really do like Jay Glazer, though. But yeah, those were my top 5. You know, I chose Max Crosby because, I mean, even though I didn't agree with that, and there are some things that I fundamentally just like, he always wants to win, but now he's finally going to get a quarterback if he remains with the Raiders. Um, yeah, like he's an ultra competitor. Like I get it, but hey man, chill out for a second.
mm.
But yeah, he's still Max Crosby, so I would kill to have him on the Niners. Well, I wouldn't kill, but I would like to really have him on the 49ers.
Yeah. Wow.
Ooh. Hey, Mike, would you trade the first overall pick and Max Crosby for Brock Purdy?
Fuck no.
It wasn't a serious question. I just wanted to.
Yeah. It's funny. Could you hear like the very like you just asked me that question fucking tone?
Dude, it was.
Literally, like you could ask me so many questions. Hey, would you rather like trade the first overall pick for this fucking doofus or, pick Fernando Mendoza? Like my answer is gonna be a very quick fuck no. Like pretty much every time.
I
No offense to anybody. And I appreciate Kenny, like I wanted to say this earlier, I appreciate Kenny 49ers for all the comments. Like it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you that much. It was a lot of fun getting to rant and such. I was not trying to fucking beat the fucking bat on him or anything like that.
no, he knows. Kenny 49ers is, yeah, he's great.
He's a real one.
He's a real one. But I'm actually shocked that you didn't like scoff at the question. I'm surprised I got a quick like fuck no. Like I was fully expecting like, oh Mike, would you do this and that, for Brock Purdy? I thought you were gonna be like, yeah, I would. Like,
Mhm.
you know, but give me your top five.
Well, that Jacoby Myers pick just had me fucking reeling because for one, I forgot him. I was honestly like, this season was such a bust, and me hate watching this team all year. Like, I think most years I would be able to make a list of 5 players within probably 2 minutes without having to look at the roster or nothing. Like, I'd feel confident. And early on this season, I had so much love and appreciation for Jacoby Myers, and even still, I was rooting for him on the Jags. Um, and I loved seeing, like you said, him like, oh, I'm rooting for those guys out there in Vegas. Like, you don't see players do that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, when he demanded the trade, I was like, a part of me is like, I really don't like losing Jacoby Myers, but I think it's best for all parties. Like, we have to get some draft capital here, and I think he deserves to go win because he's a hell of a team player. Um, So he's the first honorable mention. Once you said him in the top five, I wanted to put him in the top five. Like, that's how much of a bust this season is. That I want to put a player that's not even on the fucking roster anymore on my top 5 players of this season. Um, Another honorable mention who I was gonna have as a tie for my number 5, but I think it's just excessive. Is Tonka Hemingway, the rookie defensive tackle. He had some flashes, especially towards the end of the season, where he had the I want to say, yeah, it was the Chiefs game. He like kind of found his way towards 2 sacks in that game. Like the Raiders need a lot of help, and developing a guy like Tonka Hemingway into a viable starter, or at the bare minimum, like a worthy rotational defensive tackle who can get pressure. Sign me up. You know, this team needs to develop its depth, especially its youth. And if guys like Tonka Hemingway can, you know, do that, that's awesome. Another honorable mention, just on the sake of doing more honorable mentions because it's my team, I guess. AJ Cole, year in, year out, I think he's the best punter in the league. He didn't get the All Pro or Pro Bowl this year. That's fine. You wouldn't expect any Pro Bowlers on this roster, um, besides their star, positional players like Crosby and Bowers. Um, but AJ Cole is still that dude, and he's a really cool person, uh, outside of the football player as well. Um, my next honorable mention is Geno Smith. I love that guy so much. I really wanted to put him in the top 5, but yeah, no, I'm just kidding. He fucking
He wanted
no,
to see who was paying attention.
yeah. So now, with
It's
that being
actually
said, my
Brendan
number,
Carroll.
yeah, no, my number 5 is Christian Wilkins. Speaking of guys that aren't on the roster anymore, this guy was so important that in losing him, we ended up being the worst team in fucking football. So that's how you know that Christian Wilkins was so important to this team and
Yeah.
integral to winning games.
Yeah.
Yeah, my actual number five is a tie. Now I'm getting serious. Going along with the storyline sort of trend with the Niners, top five favorites, like I said, or was kind of saying with like the hate watch stuff is like I really wasn't paying as much attention as I usually would,
Yeah.
Uh, but something that was really integral to me when I realized that, yeah, we need to rebuild and this is a lost season. So there comes a point where you need to go, well, obviously this team is going to change a lot next year. They're going to have a fuckload of draft picks and they're going to have projected the second most cap space in the league, somewhere around $100 million. This roster is going to change. Why am I saying this? Well, when you expect a lot of change on a roster, and you're in this lost season like we are this year where you're hardly winning, what you ultimately look for is who belongs. That's all you can hope for, is to find some players who belong, similar to Tonka Hemingway. I'm not saying Tonka Hemingway is a starting defensive tackle, but he looks like he belongs in the NFL. It's his rookie season. Let's develop him. Two more guys in line with that, but to the eyes looked even more convincing, and I have very strong optimism towards, is Caleb Rogers and Charles Grant on the offensive line, the two third-round picks this year. I think that they look like guys that can absolutely. I think Kenny 49ers actually had a comment way earlier, and we didn't really get to it. But he was asking about them too, specifically, and like their development. I think he asked, like, with them playing relatively good, can he or can I see them starting next year? Um, I think Charles Grant still has. I mean, honestly, I can see. I guess the short answer is I could see one of them starting next year and it not being a bad thing. That's the way that I'll put it. Um, but moving on, number four, I have Eric Stokes. He's on the cover for this pod, or the thumbnail. Um,
I found the
this is
comment.
nice. This is a case where not noticing a player is a great thing. Sort of similar to the offensive line. I would say offensive line and corner are the two positions where you don't want to realize they're on the field. You know? Like if they're not being targeted, if they're not giving up 40-yard fucking catches and touchdowns, they're probably a pretty good corner. And that was Eric Stokes this year, who gave up the least amount of yards. I believe that's the stat. He gave up the least amount of yards in coverage this season at corner. Minimum like 420 snaps, whatever it was. I forget the exact stat, but he had a hell of a season. And his whole story has been he can't stay healthy, which total fucking tangent right here. That's another aspect to Lamar Jackson. I'm so sorry to bring this back up, but like he cannot play 17 games to save his life, Lamar Jackson. Okay? That's another reason why I'm like no thank you. Like he's turning 30, that's going to get worse, not better. Anyways, Eric Stokes, he couldn't play a full season in his Packer career. And then he comes to the Raiders on a 1-year prove it deal and he fucking proves it. He proves that he is a starting corner in the NFL. And now he's going to hit free agency and he's going to make some fucking money. And I hope it's with the Raiders. Number three, this is probably a shocker. It's Max Crosby. And the reason why is because it's same old, same old. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing, exceptionally new. It's he came in, he did his job, he did exactly what I expected him to do, and I love him for it. Ultimately, he is still my favorite player on the team. But if you're asking me my top five favorite Raiders for this season, that kind of makes me think, well, like who did I get the most excited, to watch? And that was my number two and my number one. Number two being Ashton Gianti. And number one, a guy who I think is genuinely top two at his position in Brock Bowers. Now, a lot of the season he wasn't fully healthy after week one, which was a great game for him. He clearly had a knee nagging him, but when he finally did get healthy again, he had that game. Uh,
I moved Max Crosby down to my number three, um,
there you go.
because I think that's a very good distinction. I might move around my 49ers as well because I definitely got excited to watch Mac Jones, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, those games when that Bears game for Ashton Gianti was like that was the best point of this season, you know. And then that game where Brock Bowers just went absolutely nuclear. What game was that? Was that It wasn't the Texans game. Well, okay. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll look on fantasy and I'll
It
fucking
was the
find it
Bears game for sure.
for Bowers.
Oh no! Oh, for Bowers, no. Um,
Okay, for Bowers, it
it
had to be the Chargers game. That's what it looks like. But I think he had the Chargers game. He had two touchdowns. Oh shit! It was the Jacksonville game. I was gonna say, why do I think I remember him like getting a one-handed catch against like the Jags. He had three touchdowns against the Jags coming out of the bye week. 13 targets, 12 catches, 127 yards, three touchdowns. The dude's an absolute monster. Uh, at the Chargers, week 13, four targets, four catches, 63 yards, two touchdowns. The very next week against Denver, five targets, four catches, 46 yards, a touchdown. Like, get this man a quarterback like Fernando Mendoza who can throw a hell of a fucking back shoulder pass and like these like curl routes. Um, Brock Bowers is gonna just get better and better, man. And like his potential just excites the shit out of me as a fan because he's different. He's not the blocker that George Kittle ever was, and I don't think he ever will be. But his capability with the football in his hand, and specifically when the football is coming his way, is at the level of, if not better, than George Kittle. No offense. I don't mean that in a negative way. George Kittle has been fucking amazing, but when you watch Brock Bowers, to me, there is something absolutely different here. Like, the only guy that I could think of, I guess there's two. The three guys that I put him on the level of, okay, four, sorry. The four guys that I put him on the level of from a physical capability standpoint when the football is either coming in his direction or in his hands. In no particular order, George Kittle, Rob Gronkowski, Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates. He is far superior than Travis Kelce, that's for sure, when it comes to physical capabilities with the football in his hands. Like he's on those guys' level, those four names that I said. That's high praise for George Kittle as well. But to me, like George Kittle tackle breaking, like that Saints game on the 4th and 2 or whatever it was, insanity. And then, his capability to, do some deep routes. Obviously, Kittle's been awesome. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. Brock Bowers has a different level. He has
You know what he
if
has?
Kittle has 5 gears, Brock Bowers has 6 gears. That's the best way I could put it.
The best way I can put it is he has speed. He's the
Mm-hmm.
fastest out of all.
Yeah, but his tackle breaking, his contested catch ability, his amazing like on Madden. If you were to like crank up the stats, contested catch towards the top, amazing catch, like you could probably put that shit at 97, 98. Like he's insane. But Kittle, the reason why he's the overall all around better tight end is the blocking. Like if you were to go to Kittle's blocking, stats on Madden, they'd be in the 90s plus, dude. And Brock Bowers probably will never be that good of a
Yeah.
blocker, like no doubt.
Well, Brock Bowers today is a better blocker than George Kittle.
Unfortunately, but from a career standpoint, like I will never expect Bowers to ever be as nearly as good, I guess, all around as Kittle in the blocking standpoint. But as a weapon, I think it's safe to say that he is a notch above Kittle for me, and that's not a slight towards Kittle. That's that's praise for Bowers as an athlete and as a football player.
All right, so real quick, can we recap your honorable mentions and picks so far? Because I think you left off on either Crosby or did you have Bowers at number two?
Yeah, I had. Well, I just kind of sped through the top three because they're just the three obvious guys. Max Crosby at three, Ashton Janty at two, Brock Bowers at one. And then, so I'll go in order, okay?
I think I might have Brock Bowers at number one. I
As
might
well.
just yeah, because he served me well last year. But yeah, I did like
Right.
watching Genty play. So
Yeah, I mean, from this season standpoint, Bowers being hurt for most of the beginning, like the first half of the season, hurts kind of his favorite for 2025 like standings, and yet he's still number one for me. Like Janty was the exciting guy all year because he was the first round pick, the shiny new guy. The problem was the offensive line that held him back.
and the
Whereas when
offensive
Bowers was
coordinator.
healthy and the coordinator, yeah, and the quarterback, just all of it. But when Bowers was healthy, the dude's just a nightmare for defenses.
Mhm.
So,
All right,
and I
who
guess
was
when the
number four or
quarterback,
five
is
in the
using his
honorable
fucking eyes.
honorable mentions?
Um, so yeah, my first honorable mention was Tonka Hemingway. Second honorable mention, AJ Cole. Third honorable mention, and I guess technically he would be number six for me, is Jacoby Myers. And then at five, I have Caleb Rogers / Charles Grant. Number four, I have Eric Stokes. Three, Max
Okay,
Crosby. Two, Ashton Janty. One, Brock Bowers.
Caleb Rogers slash Charles Grant, and then four was Eric Stokes.
Yeah.
All right, got it. I just wanted to
Um,
write
I,
it down.
I mean, if I had to add more honorable mentions, you don't need to add these. Please don't. But like Colton Miller, I guess Tyree Wilson, just because of the final week of the season. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't really pull out many other names. I mean, Jackson Powers Johnson, in the most reverse aspect of like, he went through hell because of this coaching staff, but I know that he's still one of my favorite guys in this roster. So,
Hmm.
anyways. But because of the way that their seasons went, between Tyree Wilson not really always showing up, and then Colt Miller being out for half the fucking year, and Jax Powers Johnson being out for like more than half the year, I can't really even put them this year.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and recap the championship round. Just quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, really quick, why don't you go ahead and start? I'm gonna quickly go to the bathroom
all right.
since my camera's already off. Anyways, I'll be right back. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Uh, all right. I honestly should put a poll right now and ask you guys if you think Mike is going number one or number two. But let's see. It's 9:41 right now. We're just gonna hyperfixate. How long does he take? If it's half an hour, I'm ending the show. So Mike, hurry your ass up. All right, let's go ahead and share the screen. Um, okay. All right. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yes, you can. All right. So far, Mike and I have been, well, I've been more miss than hit than Mike has, but Mike definitely. All right. The Patriots versus the Broncos. that game I didn't really get to watch a ton of because it was early in the day. I was, getting a lot of stuff done. But um, Mike, tell me about the Patriots versus Broncos game since you probably watched it a little bit more than I did.
Dude, so I worked this weekend. I was, well, I won't get into it, but basically I worked this weekend. And I was working during pretty much all of the Patriots and Broncos game. All I knew was that nobody was scoring. Like it was a 7-7 tie at halftime. Um, and that was almost it for the scoring because then the snow just started piling on, and it was Stidham versus the Patriots defense, and the Patriots offense just wasn't getting anything really going versus that Broncos defense. Um, it was a weird game. I think like there was like 6 missed kicks in this game or some shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
if I heard that correctly. Um, but ultimately, from what I understand of the ending of this game, the Patriots punted, and it like must have got shanked or something, and the Broncos got the ball in like the Patriots 40. Like it was like a 23-yard punt. Um, and the Broncos went like backwards. No, that's not true. Well, they initially went backwards, then they went a little forwards, and they attempted like a 35, 40-yard field goal, maybe 45-yarder, and he missed. And they were down 10-7. And this was like 4.5 minutes left in the game or some shit. So then the Patriots get the ball back. I think they're killing clock. And then I want to say, yeah, the Broncos got the ball one more time, and Stidham went attempted a slightly deep, throw, and it got picked off. It was like 2 minutes 10 seconds left. Game's pretty much over. Um, that's all I got for you on that one. Like I know Stidham early on in this game before the snow started coming down really hard. Uh, got one deep pass off to, I don't know if it was Marvin Mims or the other guy, but one of those speedsters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other than that, it didn't sound to me like he had that great of a game. Um,
He had a good drive.
but
The
yeah, he had
second
a good
drive,
opening drive or second
no,
drive.
no,
Yeah,
the second drive,
yeah,
and then after
uh,
that, it seemed like he really struggled.
yeah. It was just a defensive type game. It probably fell in line between both the defense is playing really good and also probably a good sense of conservatism, Jesus, from both sides on offense. Um, that was probably just in the game plan. Um, but yeah, Patriots pulled it out. But that's Drake made and light the world on fire in this game or anything. And neither did the run game. So they're not going to be playing. I guess luckily for them, they're not going to be playing the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Unluckily for them, they're going to be playing the fucking Seahawks, who have a better defense. So we'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, the Rams and Seahawks did play. It I think that game started at like 3:30. Um, I was able to catch like late in the game. Um, but like I said, I was kind of out and about on Sunday, which kind of sucks because like, all right, really, I had no hype going into championship weekend. Like I typically do really love the NFL playoffs, but let me just tell you, like having the Rams versus the Seahawks and winner gets to go to Levi's Stadium, and then the Broncos versus the Patriots, where it's like, all right, well. The Broncos don't even have their starting quarterback, and they're, you know, I thought it was interesting because they were at home, but the Broncos without a starting quarterback versus the Patriots, who might go on to win their seventh Super Bowl. It's just
Mm.
this is unfortunately like the playoffs that I don't want to watch. I don't want to see either the Patriots win their seventh, and I don't want to see the Seahawks win at Levi Stadium. Like, shoot me now. Mike, you know that deal that we made where the Niners get to win in Vegas and, the Raiders get to win at Levi's?
Yeah.
Oh boy. What I would kill to have that Super Bowl, at least. Oh man. All right, but
Yeah.
all right, the Rams versus Seahawks game I felt like was remember that vision that I said that I had when I made my prediction? Like out of nowhere, I just kind of like snapped, and I was like, "No, actually, I'm picking the Seahawks. I just had a vision, and the Rams are gonna go for it like late in the game, and they're not gonna get it, and then
Mm.
like it's just gonna cut to like the players on the sideline like frustrated and everything." The I honestly thought it was gonna be like the final play of the game, which I guess it did happen because the Rams did end up getting the ball back with like no timeouts left. Honestly, there were two plays in the game that were the exact vision that I had. The first play that I'm thinking of was the fourth down that they went for it and they didn't get it. Uh, but then the other one was Puka Nakua going out of bounds, but he was down inside. He was down inbounds, so the clock ran, and then the game was over. That was like
Mm.
literally the exact vision that I had, and that's why I chose the Seahawks. So
Hmm.
I just don't think that the Rams were as good of a team as the Seahawks are, because right now, like both offenses were playing very well. Sam Darnold is playing at a high level, and one of the biggest differences is that the Seahawks also have an elite defense, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so I don't know. It's kind of like the Seahawks fandom kind of has their identity, um, at least for their team. If they win another Super Bowl with, one of the league's best defenses, it's like I feel like for the rest of time, Seahawks fans are always going to just want to build their defense first, and then the offense will come, as it comes, right?
Yeah.
My question to you, Mike, is well, I guess we can. Well, no, I'll ask it now. How do you think that Russell Wilson will get remembered if Sam Darnold just comes in and wins this Super Bowl?
For NFL fans or Seahawk fans?
Seahawks fans.
I think Seahawk fans will still realize that Russell Wilson was more dominant by far. Um, but I mean, if Sam Darnold goes in and he's 1-0 in a Super Bowl, whereas Russell Wilson threw that pick on the goal line, like there is some big sting to that. And also, Sam Darnold would be getting essentially revenge on that same exact team,
Mm-hmm.
like 10 years later. Um, so, you know, there would be a lot of like, oh, that's like, it kind of almost like, not necessarily at all in the same way, but like, the Warriors won 2015 without KD, and then they win two with KD back to back, right? Am I wrong? Like
Uh,
they
so th-
lost to LeBron, so they won, and then what? 2016 they lose, and then 17-18 they win two in a row, right?
yes.
To me and you, I think we can both agree that 2015 championship probably nothing tops that. Like that first time is like, oh my god, that was awesome. But what year was it? 2022
Yes.
when they came back and they won another championship. That one,
That one might have topped
that
it.
was that might have topped it because nobody expected it, but also like it just like that cemented like Curry, Draymond, etc. If I'm not mistaken, without KD, right?
Without KD, but they did have Clay.
Yeah, they still had Clay. Um, like I feel like there could be some of that to this Seahawks Super Bowl, of like nobody expected this. This was fucking amazing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that sort of vibe of that 2022 Warriors championship relative to their others. Like I could see that for Seahawks fans relative to their past Super Bowl win.
I will say, one thing that like really stands out is just how on top of it the Seahawks were. Like they got they had an offer on the table for a third round pick for their quarterback, and they did not hesitate. They fucking moved. They moved the fuck on, and then they got Sam Darnold on top of that, who now has won back to back 14. You know, he's he has 14 win seasons back to back
It,
with two different
it
teams,
you're
and
dead
now is
on.
starting in the Super Bowl.
You're absolutely dead on. For me, it's also like number one to me is kind of the Sam Darnold of it all. And like dating back to like week 15, 16, when it was like, oh, the Seahawks might get the one seed, all I've heard up until they won the NFC Championship was, yeah, but Sam Darnold's going to choke. And look at him. Like he's in the Super Bowl and he's the favorite. And spoilers, I'm going to pick the Seahawks. I know that's not really the fun way to do it, but like I have no question in my mind. Could the Patriots win? Sure. But to me, like I look at this team and I'm like, the Seahawks are just too fucking good. And they're led by a quarterback. This is, I mean, the Fernando Mendoza of it all. Like Sam Darnold is another reason why I want Fernando Mendoza. Is like if you can just build the team around the quarterback, a fucking game manager can get it done. You know what I mean? Like Sam Darnold is not a world-beating special quarterback. He was once a top-end quarterback prospect, right? He
Yes.
was the favorite to go first overall over Baker Mayfield because he had the physical, the arm strength and the accuracy and all this shit. Like he had the physical traits that people were looking for relative to Baker. Like Darnold was the more promising prospect. Um, but he went to the wrong team in the Jets. And in the Fernando Mendoza of it all, Mendoza could end up being the next Sam Darnold, where it's like the Raiders aren't ready for this quarterback and yada yada yada. And that's why some people are saying they should trade back. I'm not trying to make this all about the Raiders, but like, but there's that part of me that's like, yeah, but if they figure out the roster, and to your point about like trading Geno and getting Darnold in, that's a testament to their staff realizing what personnel fits them. That's a Clint Kubiak thing. And not to toot Kubiak's horn because I think he might be the Raiders' next coach, which is another topic of its own. But
Mm-hmm.
like they brought in Kubiak this past offseason. This is his first year with the Seahawks. And he came in and he knew immediately what he wanted, and that was Sam Darnold. And the team was like, "Yeah, let's do that. That personnel makes sense. And we're going to do this." And like this is another thing like something I was thinking about that just like fucking pissed me off is like everybody's to that point of like, oh, what if Mendoza's the next Darnold for the Raiders relative to the Jets for Darnold, right? Where it just doesn't work out and he sucks. He goes to another couple spots until he finally finds his way, right? Like, what if that happens to the Raiders?
Yeah.
Well, the Jets are a fucking nightmare. They've been a nightmare for years, right? And so have the Raiders in their own respect. But we've seen the Raiders be able to put out some like solid offensive lines here and there. They can build up a team a few times. 2016, right? 2021, which debatable. The point here, I don't think fixing the offensive line is as hard as everybody's like just antagonizing that it will be. And like all these people like real, NFL again, I'm sorry to do a tangent on the Raiders. Real NFL media people being like, I would not pick Fernando Mendoza if I were the Raiders. I would trade the pick immediately. Like, no questions asked. Really? Like, the purgatory that this franchise has been in, you want to give up the opportunity for the quarterback? Like, Their point being here, and my point being here, everybody's saying you have to fix the offensive line first before you can get the quarterback. That's just the way it has to be, or else he's gonna fail. That's what the Seahawks just fucking did. They just went from a bottom like 5 offensive line unit in the NFL in 2024 to a top 10 unit. Why? Because of coaching, because of scheme, because of personnel fit.
They also
That's all it
drafted.
takes.
They also drafted a lineman in the first round, though, Gray Zabel.
Absolutely. And Gray Zabel, yes, you are right. Gray Zabel has been a fucking triumph for them. He was another guy this offseason that, like, I saw him in the Senior Bowl and I was like, that dude is a fucking stud. I felt similarly to him as I did to Jackson Powers Johnson a year prior, where he was a my guy.
He was the guy that I think that you had the 49ers picking, or one of them that you could see them
I
pick.
believe you're right. Yeah. And I think the year before I said the Niners could pick Jackson Powers Johnson end of the first round. Anyways, just it's not simply the Raiders need to fill out 4 different spots in the offensive line. All those guys that are currently sitting in those starting spots fucking blow at massive horsecock and they need to replace them. And it's going to be so hard to fucking do that. It's not simply that. It's who is the coach going to be? Is it going to be another Chip Kelly, another fucking Luke Getsy, or is it going to be Clint fucking Kubiak, who knows what he needs and how to elevate his offense? You make a great point with Gray Zabel. I think the year before or 2 years prior they did Charles Cross, left tackle. The Raiders have a left tackle, Colt Miller, and they have a Gray Zabel-esque guy. I'm not going to say he's going to be as good as Gray Zabel in Jackson Powers Johnson. What do you do with the rest? You have 2 third-round picks who I think can absolutely develop. And that first offseason is the biggest one for all these pros, especially on the interior, or especially on the line, offensive or defensive. Again, I'm sorry for the tangent. I just have to. And then
right.
DJ Glaze at right tackle. Like, worst comes to worst, not worst comes to worst, but maybe best case scenario, you sign a starting right tackle in free agency. You can move DJ Glaze to right guard. He played guard at Maryland in college. You don't... That's like the easy way out, essentially, is make a tackle move inside. They're usually solid in that scenario. Whereas if you make a guard go outside, forget about it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, all they have to do is just put Jackson Powers Johnson at the right position, wherever he feels best, whatever suits him best in whatever offense you bring in, scheme-wise. And then you have Caleb Rogers, who might be a starter. We'll see. At left or right guard.
Mm.
You have DJ Glaze, who can play right tackle or right guard. I'd prefer an upgrade at right tackle. That's it. It's not that hard. And then you also tell me that the offense is going to be a better scheme if it's Kubiak? There you go. Suddenly, we're not a bottom 3 or the worst offensive line in football. We might actually be like more around 15 to 20. Maybe even 10 to 20. Just like that. Scheme change. Bring in a few bodies. It's not that fucking hard. So all this talk about they shouldn't draft a quarterback. You can fuck off. Back to the Seahawks.
You've been waiting for so long.
Yeah,
I just quarterback.
Yes, dude. Like, I agree with the sentiment that they need to build the roster out around the quarterback, and the right way to do it is with a long-term approach, which is just pick the best players available. Just pick the best players available in the draft, and in free agency, supplement positions that you need to, whether that's depth or starters. And the beginning phase of free agency is you're going to be trying to find starters. There will be starting linemen on the offensive line in free agency. Not that many, but you can nab 1 or 2. At least get 1.
Yeah, so I don't think that we need to talk more about the Seahawks and Rams game. I think
Sorry,
that we can probably predict the Super Bowl.
let me. I just want to say this, just to the point of like the Patriots and Broncos game, that I was working during that game. I got home perfectly in time. Like the Broncos game just ended, and then it was like, well, 20 minutes until the Seahawks and Rams game. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is the game I want to watch, all that shit. And I was, laying in bed watching the first quarter, and I realized, oh no, I'm gonna fall asleep. I am an old man. Uh,
Dude, me too.
I I I fell asleep during the second quarter, and then my sister woke me up for something, and she was asking me about the game, like, "Oh, what are you rooting for?" I was like, "I mean, I'm rooting for the Seahawks because the Patriots already made it, and I need somebody to beat their fucking ass." So I don't, I can't, I can't be so confident in the Rams defense as I can in the Seahawks defense. Um, so yeah, I was just like, I hope the Seahawks win, and I like some of their players, yada yada. And then she left. 5 minutes later, I'm watching the game, fucking fall right back asleep. It sounds like I missed a great game. I didn't wake up until like midnight after that, dude. So that was my experience with that game. Continue.
Well, I think we can. All right, this is going to be the shittiest topic of the day, but all right, predictions for the Super Bowl. Um, I'm just gonna go. You already said Seahawks. I'm just gonna keep it very brief. Uh, my eyes are gonna vomit because I fucking love the Super Bowl, but I'm really not excited about it this year. Like I love watching it every year, and this is the year that I just have to. It's oh man, it's like I'll put it to you this way. It's like I'm sitting in a oh finally got you back. It's like I'm sitting, or it's like I will be sitting in
You can
a
see me.
yeah. So let
Well,
me
it looks like you still have the NHL or NFL play. Oh, there we go. All right, cool.
yeah. Um, this is not my personal life, so I don't want anybody to think that this is what I do. But this is just an analogy of how awful or how sad that this is. But the fact that the Seahawks are going to win at Levi's feels like I am a married man who is about to sit in a chair in a hotel room um,
Okay.
to watch something.
Okay. For reference, when I said, "Hey, let's make a deal. You guys can win in in our stadium if we can win in yours." Who
Yeah.
won that Super Bowl in the Raiders Stadium? The fucking Chiefs, dude. This
No,
is
no, I,
nothing
I knew
new.
the answer. I just didn't want to
Yeah,
say it.
this is my hell that I've been living in. Welcome to it. Between the fucking Patriots and the Chiefs going on dynasties all my life, those are the two teams that I've hated the most all my life, not named the Broncos. And the Broncos were the other team this year that could have made it to the Super Bowl. Like there was no winning. So the Seahawks have the least amount of Super Bowls of the four teams that were in the championship games with only one win. It's going to suck if it happens that the Seahawks win in your house. But to me, like, I don't think that much about the Chiefs winning in the Raiders' house. I don't care about that. I think Chiefs fans probably care about that more than I do because they can gloat, right? What matters more to me is just the fact that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter to me where they won it. It could have been in fucking Cancun. It could have been in Israel, fucking wherever. I don't care. Hawaii. It's the fact that the Chiefs won it. That's what pisses me off. Period.
Mic drop. No, but in terms of who I will be rooting for, I'm on the exact opposite side of you. I would rather I would rather the Patriots get number 7 than the Seahawks to win at Levi's Stadium. I'm rooting
Yeah,
for the Patriots, but I know that these teams are built different and that the Seahawks are just going to win. And really this Super Bowl is going to be so fucking bad. The team the game's not going to be good. Like everything is kind of tainted about it, dude.
uh, okay, two things. One, I could never root for the Patriots in this game. If this were the Chargers versus the Patriots, I would root for the Chargers without a doubt. And obviously that's not possible. But the notion that the Patriots would go on to their seventh Super Bowl win, you know, having the most in NFL history, I can't root for that. Uh, and then additionally, I see that you have the poll highlighted. Totally off topic. Um, but you have the poll highlighted. Who/what would you rather have, Lamar Jackson or the first pick? There were two votes, 100% Lamar Jackson. I think a key to this question should be the timing or the timeline of what you get. Would you rather have Lamar Jackson for the next 5 years, or Fernando Mendoza for the next 5 years, or for at least the next 5 years? To me, there's not a doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miranda says, I wish so bad that I understood what you guys were talking about, so I had something to say. You know what?
Yeah, it's the
It's
Super Bowl.
okay.
We're talking about the Super Bowl.
I wish that I did not understand what was going on in this Super Bowl, so I wouldn't have to like want to gouge my eyes out because I either have to see, the Patriots win ring number 7 in my lifetime, or I have to watch the team that I hate the most.
Yeah.
I I all right.
So for
One
Miranda sitting there watching this, you have the Niners and you have the Seahawks, and they've been just bitter rivals
fisting each other.
since, yes, since Colin Kaepernick and company, and way before that. They're division rivals. They hate each other, but it's like anytime the Niners have been great, the Seahawks are right there to just punish them, and probably vice versa in Seahawks fans' minds, kind of. Um, so naturally, Niner fans don't want them to win. Whereas you also have the Patriots in the game, who have the most Super Bowl wins in the league history, tied with the Steelers. That's what we have.
Dude, it's the worst. It's the worst Super Bowl ever, dude. And then poor Russell Wilson, he has to watch that highlight. If you pays attention to anything about the Super Bowl, they're gonna play that highlight of Malcolm Butler picking off his pass for about like 1,000 times this week, dude.
Yeah, true. Either way, Russell Wilson would have been in hell, because it was either that,
Or the Broncos.
or or it was Seahawks versus Broncos, his two former teams.
Yeah.
So, and with Sean Payton, the guy that kicked him out.
You know what? I have I have a nice thing that I can say about the Seahawks. Do you want to know what it is?
Uh, that they only have to play one more week, and then you don't have to watch them for like many, many weeks.
No. As much as I hate the Seahawks, as much as I hate the Seattle Seahawks, they are not the Los Angeles Dodgers. As much as I hate the Seahawks and as much as I care about football way more, I don't even care about the MLB anymore. I don't. It used to be my favorite league. It is now by far the NFL. But dude, I will never hate a team the way that I hate the Dodgers. So I do hate the Seahawks, but there's levels to this.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. Holy shit.
Oh shit. What's up, Miranda? Unmute it. We got a special guest appearance. That was Mike's sister for everybody who's watching.
Okay. Thank God I muted my mic.
What what did she say?
She didn't say words. It was just noises.
Oh my.
No, she was just like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know.
All right, everyone. Well,
Oh shit.
that's hella funny. That's the end of the show. I'm over here. I gotta wake up in a couple hours to go to work. I think it was a good show. I'm sorry.
Oh, dude,
I'm an
it
old
was
man,
great.
like you
I
said.
got to let some demons out, man.
Dude, you let some demons out, and then you let the demon in.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if you know what I'm talking about, but then again, I don't even know if I know what I'm talking about. So, dude, we used to stay up till like 1 or 2 doing this pod a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, we would do 4-hour pods, and we'd start at fucking like 9. Yeah, um, that was always great. And and
All right, I'm gonna end the show, everybody. Mike is Mike's dealing with his crazy sister. I'm just playing. Oh, oh, what drink is that? I'll have me one of
some
those.
Alameda Brewing
Oh, is
hazy
it a beer?
IPA.
Oh, never
Yes,
mind. I will
sir.
not have me one of those.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to put it in the fridge. It's too late. I have to get ready for work tomorrow.
I like I like
But she
early
did bring me
drinks.
that.
That's hella funny
Mm-hmm.
in the context of she just randomly for the first time commented on our pod and went, I wish so bad that I understood what you guys are talking about. That's actually hella funny. Anthony C said, those late night pods got me through my night shifts, fellas. Peace out. Oh man. Well, we definitely appreciate that, you know, you've always been watching our shows, Anthony. So, you know, Mike is over here dying because I guess something's going on while he's muted, but I wish we could stay up later. I really do, but there's always I actually don't know if we're going to have an episode next week. Maybe if the Raiders hire a head coach, we'll have an impromptu episode probably 1 week from today. Other than that, I'd say we're
Can we
pretty
actually
firm.
just really quickly? I'm not gonna do like a fucking 10-minute spiel. I'm sorry. It it very clearly feels like it's Kubiak or bust right now. Like the way that the Raiders are operating, they let everybody else go and sign elsewhere. They out of nowhere it was Dable in the last like 2 days or 3 days. They had Dable in for 2 separate interviews. Where to the point where I was like, whoa, are they actually serious about this? Davis Webb is still out there right now. You know, Broncos pass game coordinator, whatnot. We'll see what happens there. He had his second interview, but um, Kubiak is kind of the the guy in the shadow, you know, in the background right now, where he's going to the Super Bowl, and the Raiders are eligible to meet with him because they met with him once already, whereas like the Bills couldn't do it um, this week or until after the Super Bowl. I saw Diana Rossini tweet that the Raiders do have another interview that they plan on having lined up soon. She didn't specify who that's with, but I mean, the only options at this point left over for head coach are literally Davis Webb, Clint Kubiak, who does not currently have a interview locked in with the Raiders, and then Ejiro Evero. Like that's it.
Yeah, and I guess that Davis Webb might be getting a promotion, coming up. So I think we got to end the show. But yeah, the Broncos fired their offensive coordinator, and it seems like they're going to be getting a brand new one, who will probably be Davis Webb. So the Raiders are running out of options. I think it's, like Mike said, Kubiak or bust. So, all right, everyone. I will. I'm going to go ahead and cut the stream off. I know everybody's going to be dying to find out what's going on in the background of Mike, but like all things, there's room for cliffhangers. I want to give a shout out to Miranda, who is behind Michael right now, Anthony C, Kenny 49ers, Chewy's Raider coverage, and 49er Media for tuning into the episode. And everybody, as always, thank you so much for watching the stream, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.